Good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing? My name is Aryanna Davis, and I'm excited to share with you how the power of words can hinder creativity. Okay, so before I start off, I'm just going to do a little background about how this relates to me personally. So in the year 2018, even though it was pre-pandemic, it was a pretty crucial year for me because this is the year I started 6th grade. Even though that's not a big deal, as you can see by the image on the far left, that's when I started to get acne. That's when my face started to break out, and I've never experienced that before. And in elementary school, everybody's friends, everybody's buddy-buddy, but in middle school, that's not the case. So coming into middle school, I was around people who talked down on me and were making fun of my face, and I never thought that I was pretty because of it. And that was the first time I've ever experienced anything like that before. So because I was around that negative energy and around that negative environment, it began to make me feel less than myself. These 3 images right here are all women who have type 4C hair, the type hair that I have naturally. And what that refers to, that's the tightest kinky curls that people can have, and I was born with that hair. At first, I loved my hair, and every time I got it done, I was very happy about it and I took a lot of pride in it. But in the year of 2018, natural hair videos became a trend, and people with looser curls were able to style their hair, and that was what was trending on the internet. And I didn't have that kind of hair, so I thought that I wasn't pretty either. And people said things about it too. So because I was around that negative environment, I began to lose my creative spark. Some of my creative sparks were singing, played the piano, and around that time I had just started to learn how to play the saxophone. And I was also very interested in acting and theater, but I didn't really push myself to do those things because I thought I shouldn't do those things because I don't really matter. So because of that, I didn't think outside the box like I should have, like other people would who are creative. And why does thinking outside the box matter? Thinking outside the box matters because when you're able to think outside the box, you become a better problem solver. Have you ever dealt with somebody with a specific issue, and as soon as it goes wrong, they just immediately give up? The problem is they're one-minded and they don't think outside the box. And a lot of the times you'll find this common in a work environment because everybody starts to think the same because we're not thinking outside the box. And when you lose your creative spark, you become somebody who doesn't think outside the box. But if you learn how to think outside the box, you can also approach a problem at an endless number of angles, and you'll be able to have more inspiration and motivation when dealing with it. So my question is, how do we implement kind words to encourage others' creativeness? So I got permission to share this story with you guys. And so this is a photo of me and my friends at a summer camp I went to. I've been going for the past 2 years. And it's really fun. We get to do fun things like zip lining, go on a fast banana boat ride and try not to fall off. And I survived. It was really fun. And so before you get to do all of that, you have a thing called an attraction, and you can choose what you want to do. And that's your activity that you'll do every day in the week, in the beginning of the morning before you go off and do your other activities. I don't know who chose me to do sports, but I chose it because I thought it would be stuff like tag and dodgeball where you have the AC in the gym and get out this summer heat. But that was a lie. We were playing football, basketball, soccer, sports I didn't know how to play at all. And so this particular girl in my cabin who chose the same sports attraction as me, she clearly saw me miss the hoop when I tried to throw the basketball, but she would say things like, great job, great effort, you're doing good. And at first, I was with all these athletic basketball guys, so I was just thinking like, no, I'm not. But then when I really took her in, I was like, you know what, I'm here to have fun. It's not that big of a deal. And because of her positive words, I didn't really, for the first time in a social environment when I knew I wasn't doing good because it's not my talent skill, I didn't feel bad about it because I didn't let other people's negative words say anything about me. And that was a new thing I haven't felt since I was like 10 years old. So I cherished it. And to this day, if you were to type something in our group chat that we met, it would be ongoing messages because of just the tight bond that we had. So this very photo, about 2 hours after we took this photo, we all went to an area by a lake, and it was nighttime. We saw a shooting star for the first time. At first I thought it was a plane, but it was a shooting star. It was fun, and everyone got to go around and share things about why camp is a creative outlet for them and why they love coming here. Because some people have been there for summers and summers on end. So the same girl that would give me encouraging words when they're in the gym, she shared her story. And at the end of her story, she shared that she was neurodivergent. And I didn't know that. And what neurodivergent means is it means that people's brain operates different than what the average brain does. She had shared with us that she was autistic, and I didn't know that before. And I was just thinking to myself, I was so happy that we were all positive to one another and that we could encourage her because in the end, we got something out of it too. I was able to channel a skill that I haven't challenged when I was confident. So I was really happy that I was able to share that positive outlet. So that's one way you can use your positive words to endorse your creativity in a social environment. Another way you can do that is through embracing people who may have a disorder. So these two men are blind men. This is Daniel Kish and this is Ben Underwood. The interesting thing about these two men is they can both use echolocation to help navigate around. I had both seen their stories on TV before, and I just remember being stunned because I didn't know there were more efficient ways for people who were blind to navigate, and it had fascinated me. And as a matter of fact, Daniel Kish is the president of the World Access for Blind, and what he does is he also teaches people how to use echolocation if they're blind as well. And how they do that is they'll make a clicking noise with their mouth, and they can sense objects around them and can avoid them and know where to walk and go. Also, Ben Underwood was so achieved at this skill that he was actually able to lead another blind man who hadn't achieved echolocation, and they both were able to get to their destination efficiently. Could you imagine if we would tell people to not put, because this is a very specific and interesting thing to go into, learning how to use echolocation for navigation, and that's not something very common. Could you imagine if you had used your negative words to discourage people for going into that deeper study? And if the people that are around these people that have had positive words that gave them that creative spark to do that, now they've gone to help people all across the world. And so that's another way how we can use positive words to enforce creativity to help change the world. Another way is through helping other people who are neurodivergent. This is Stephen Wiltshire, and he is a British architectural artist. Now, the unique thing about Stephen is while being autistic, he can draw an entire landscape from simply memory. People were so fascinated by his skills that they offered him a helicopter ride and they flew him across London City. After a while, he landed and they gave him a pad and pencil like you see here, and he just began drawing. And his drawings were so accurate, it was so skilled, and he became recognized for his talent. I remember watching this and I just remember being stunned because I can't even draw for the life of me, even if the image is right in front of me. And he can draw from memory and do it accurately. I have a couple friends who are interested in art and would actually like to pursue it for their career, but people tell them that they shouldn't because, oh, art is an unstable career and you should go into something more into science or math. But if we discourage people from being artists, like Stephen being an architectural artist, we discourage them from helping to do the next push in combating societal issues. How can someone like an architectural artist combat societal issues? Well, architectural artists lay out the blueprint for helping design cities and industrializations. And I know for a fact that around in this area, there are 2 new subdivisions that are getting built up right now, and my parents are livid because there's already traffic, and we know with 2 more subdivisions, it's gonna be more traffic. With more people also increases more pollution, and it all starts from the skilled design planning with an architectural artist. So by using kind words of positivity to encourage people like Stephen to keep on with their drawing and their art, it helps us move into the right direction. Now, this is one that Mr. Boland was getting you excited about, the culture. Do I have any Caribbean people in here? Big house. So I'm Jamaican, and one way I want to share creativity is through culture. So one thing about Jamaicans, and you often find with a lot of Caribbean people as well, we cook outside. And what I mean outside, we make natural fires, we use stones, and we make full-on meals. They're not scraps, they're full-on meals, as I can show you here. Most of these images are showing our national dish, ackee and saltfish. And ackee is a poisonous fruit that grows on a tree, but if you know when and how to make it, you can make a delicious, delectable meal, and if you season it right. But it takes skills and craftsmanship to be able to prepare such a meal, and a filling meal at that as well. I've also been around people who are Caribbean like myself, and some people who aren't bash our culture and say things like, why do you do things like this way, or that's weird? And some of them actually mask who they are, and so they don't really embrace who they are, and they start acting like they're not Caribbean. And it hurts me because we have a lot of creativity and we can help inspire the world as well. How? World hunger is a big issue as well. And if you can teach people how to use their natural resources to make full-on meals that people can live off of every day, that's a skill that we can help push internationally and help. So with that being said, I want to encourage all of you guys to think about your hobbies, talents, and skills that you're interested in. And even if somebody doesn't have those same skills as you, find people who aren't naysayers and people who are positive talkers that will just give you the fuel and passion, because we can't do that all on our own. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great evening.